The United States men's national team closed a pathetic September camp, picking up right where they left off from the Copa America, this time with a 1-1 draw with New Zealand. Christian Pulisic scored for the United States during the 69th minute. Nice. And New Zealand scored a bizarre Jassi Zardes-like goal. A camp to forget, but at the same time, we did get the official announcement of Mauricio Pochettino as the US men's national team head coach, so there's that to be optimistic about starting this October. So the camp was crap, but we got good news. Pochettino is now officially the United States men's national team head coach. But I'm not going to talk about that too much today. I want to focus mainly on the New Zealand game and the overall camp. So, what did we learn? Hi, if you're new here, I'm Filippo, and welcome to Tactical Manager TV, and welcome to the 7 Things We Learned series, where every single day following a United States men's national team match, we tell you 7 things that we learned. Now, as I always say, there are more than 7 lessons, and you can go ahead and let me know in the comment section down below, what did you learn from United States 1 and New Zealand also 1, besides the fact that this was a horrible game? No, like seriously, this game was the worst thing to happen yesterday. And we literally had a presidential debate and like 7 wars going on. But this game was still the worst thing to happen. And unfortunately I cover it, so I'm gonna have to talk about it today. Now you can drop a like if you haven't already in this video, help us hit at least 1,000 likes, and subscribe if you want to. And you may also join our Patreon, the link is in the description if you want to join. With that said, let's roll the intro and start the episode. Lesson number 1 is about Yunus Musah, and I'm going to be very straightforward with it. We need to start a serious conversation about Musah, and understand that this is not me saying he's a bad player. I actually think he's a very good player. I just think over the past 2 or 3 years, he has stagnated, might be the proper word. His development has been mediocre, or terrible to say the least. It seems like Musah is exactly the same player he was 2 years ago. He's really good at dribbling and progressing the ball forward in the midfield. Once he gets to the final third, he is close to useless. And you may be wondering why, right? Yunus Musah has over 40 caps for the US men's national team, no goals, 2 assists, and a few almost bangers. What happens is, in the middle of the field, there's more space, and you're mainly being marked by midfielders or forwards. When you reach the final third, time and space are all compressed. So you need to have more ability on the ball, more composure, and the mentality too plays a role, all of that. And you're going against center backs, full backs, central defensive midfielders, players that are better defensively. So it's much harder to do something when you're in the final third when compared to the midfield. And it doesn't seem like Yunus Musah has the skill set to be dangerous in the final third. The guy can't cross, he can't dribble past opponents in tight spaces. Occasionally he hits a few good long shots, but it doesn't really ever translate to goals. What's my point here? He is still a roster lock for the US men's national team, but his development has stagnated. And my question to you is, why? He played a lot for Valencia. He plays a lot for Milan. What happened to Musah? Is he at his ceiling? I don't know. Maybe time will tell. Do you guys understand the concern? You let me know in the comment section down below. Has Musah hit his ceiling? I mean, he's only 21, so I'd expect him to get better, but it doesn't feel like he has improved at all the past 2 years. Lesson number 2 is about another midfielder this camp that didn't really play well, and his name is Johnny Cardoso. This was the perfect camp for Johnny to make a statement. No Tyler Adams, Leonard Maloney wasn't available, no Tanner Tessman, no Weston McKennie. So it was supposed to be the camp where Johnny was going to come in, play both games, start and play well. He was very bad, to say the least, against Canada, which made him get benched for Aiden Morris. That was very good, by the way, this camp. And then he played like 5 minutes only against New Zealand. So this was a camp for Johnny to really break through the US men's national team squad, and he didn't. And mostly a fault of his own. He wasn't good against Canada, and Aiden Morris was, so it made sense that Aiden Morris got an opportunity. Sure, maybe Johnny should have gotten like 20 or 30 minutes against New Zealand, but would that even matter if he played well against New Zealand after the Canada performance? Johnny will still make the roster in October, and he'll get plenty of opportunities with Mauricio Pochettino, and I think he can still possibly become a starter for the U.S. men's national team. I've seen him play for Internacional. I've seen him play a lot for Real Betis. He is a really good player. But again, you have to perform for the national team. We'll see how he does under Mauricio Pochettino, but I just want to say this was a very disappointing camp for Johnny Cardoso. Lesson number 3, and I don't mean to be rude here, but sometimes I am rude. And I'm going to say it. I think Mikey Varas kind of sucks. Like, he's really not good. Which makes me feel bad for everyone that's going to be a fan of the new franchise in MLS, the San Diego one, because Mikey Varas is supposed to be the head coach of that franchise that seems to be very ambitious, but they hired another Berhalter boy. So this guy got dominated by Canada and called out by Jesse Marsch. Jesse Marsch literally said he expected him to play Berhalter ball, and he played Berhalter ball, and Jesse Marsch caught him off guard. And listen, if you're getting out-coached and called out by Jesse Marsch, that's not a good sign. I've only seen him call out like 2 coaches throughout his career. I've seen him call out Berhalter, and I've seen him call out now Mikey. And then he tied New Zealand at home. He started Ricardo Pepi as a right winger. Tell me, what part of Ricardo Pepi's game makes him a winger? Who in the right mindset would play Ricardo Pepi as a winger? The dude is a poacher, a center forward. He doesn't have the speed, the dribbling ability, the off-the-ball movement to be a winger, or even the crossing ability. It doesn't make sense. I don't know what Mikey Varas saw on Ricardo Pepi. He looked at Pepi and just said, "You're playing a right winger today." What did he see that we're not seeing to put Pepi as a winger? And not Balogun. Balogun can play as a winger, but not Pepi. Pepi's a center forward. He also started Matt Turner, God knows why. Right? I don't know why he's doing that still. Cade Cowell played both games. Brendan Aronson got way too many minutes. He also did blame the players, which, to be fair, everything he said about the players was true. But how about, take some blame yourself, Mikey Varas? It sounds a lot like Greg Berhalter. He is a Berhalter student, and it shows. And just one more thing. I don't know, if you want to be a coach or a leader of a team, as a grown man, probably ask people to call you Mike, not Mikey. Lesson number 4 is super quick. This camp was a big waste of time. Incompetent interim coach, players that didn't really seem interested or even wanted to be there. Horrendous results. We lost to Canada and tied New Zealand at home. The camp was a complete waste of time. But I'm going to piggyback right on that and go to lesson number 5, which is not really about this camp. It's a bit more broad, but it's an important conversation to have. Okay, now lesson number 5. And if you made it this far in the video, make sure to drop a like if you haven't already. Hopefully we've hit 1,000 likes, and maybe drop a comment to rig the YouTube algorithm. It helps us quite a bit. Lesson number 5 is that FIFA needs to fix the international windows. And there's ways to do this. I'm about to give you a suggestion, and you can let me know what you think. So personally, what I think FIFA should do is we should have less international windows. That way, you will interrupt the club season less, have players travel less. But hear me out. They will have less windows and make the windows a bit longer. So instead of teams playing 2 games every window, they can play 4. And you can cut the number of windows in half. That will be better for the players, for the teams, and that will lead to less travel. Because keep in mind, every single window, for example, American players as an example, but I can also use South American players as the same example, Brazilians, Argentines. When they have an international window, they have to travel from Europe to the Americas, right? If you have less windows, that trip, which is the long one, will be reduced. And if you have half the amount of windows, it'll be reduced in half because they'll already be there. It'll also give these players a bit more time, continuous time with the coach, the international coach, to improve the national team while not hurting the clubs as much. You reduce travel, it benefits the players, it benefits the clubs, and it benefits the national teams. Reduce the number of international windows and make them a bit longer. It just makes too much sense, so FIFA won't do it. Lesson number 6 was a major issue that we had throughout the entire Berhalter era. And yesterday against New Zealand, it was quite noticeable once again. We do not have the speed or the killer instinct to strike the opponent in transition. There were moments in the game, some rare moments where New Zealand was actually very high up the field. And when we would have the ball, we would not be able to hit them on the counterattack. Just remember, over the past 4 to 5 years, how many goals have we scored in transition? I can't remember any. Maybe there's one or two, but I can't remember any. And the United States in the past used to be very good in transition, right? That used to be our game plan. Now, I'm not saying we have to go back to the way we played, but one thing Mauricio Pochettino has to fix is that we have to be dangerous in transition. In the 2026 World Cup, we will be underdogs at some point. We will face some teams that will be worse than us, but if we want to make a deep run to the quarterfinals, round of 16, we're going to have to face teams that are better than us. And the best way to hit them is in transition. In possession, it'll be tough. But if you can catch them off guard in transition, you can get a goal here and there, and that can be a huge difference maker. And we haven't looked dangerous in transition in quite some time. So that's something that has to be addressed by Mauricio Pochettino as soon as possible. And personally, I think he will fix it. Lesson number 7 is probably my favorite. The Berhalter era is officially over. A new era will begin this October. And I know you're going to say, are you blaming Berhalter for the Canada loss and the tie against New Zealand? No. Mikey Varas was in charge. But that's a Berhalter student. So we still played Berhalter ball. There was still some Berhalter influence in this camp. And it showed. It was quite evident. Jesse Marsch called it out himself. Varas is a Berhalter student, and we saw it. But this was the last time we had to go through a Berhalter-like camp. It's over. In October, Mauricio Pochettino will be in charge. We will probably already see some changes, and hopefully a few camps from now in 2025, we see a completely different U.S. men's national team. Because in the past, I used to be very proud of the national team, but after the summer and this camp, I mean, like most U.S. men's national team fans, I don't think anyone is proud of this team right now. And there's a lot of work to be done for Mauricio Pochettino. We're going to do plenty of videos this month talking about what he has to change, what he has to work on. Starting this Friday or Thursday, we'll release a video, but there'll be 2 more next week and much more to come. But let me know in the comment section down below, what are the top 3 things that Pochettino has to do as soon as he takes over the U.S. men's national team? Just tell me in the comment section if you made it this far in the video. All right, everyone, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to drop a like before you go. And I know it sucks right now being a U.S. men's national team fan, but now we have a real coach. And try to remain optimistic and try to believe that the future will be bright. And I want to thank you all very much for watching, and have a great day.